Greetings, my name is Emily Fournier, and today I will be presenting Frankenstein in homage to modern scientists. Before jumping into it, I would first like to explain a little bit about the novel. Frankenstein is written by Mary Shelley, which is a novel about a scientist whose name is Victor Frankenstein. Victor was living a good life with his family, who he loved very much. Victor had an obsession to study life and death and other types of scientific discoveries. He created a monster that was 8 feet tall and who was very hideous. He was very afraid of his monster and regretted his own creation. The rest of the novel goes about how the monster develops in the real world and many different unfortunate events for Victor. I will be explaining 3 different arguments. Number 1, portraying them as miracle creators. Number 2, how the novel shows readers what was done for the future. And 3, inspiration to create. To begin, portraying them as miracle creators. In the novel, there's an explanation that proves that modern-day scientists can perform miracles. In Chapter 3, Frankenstein visits his professors and talks about the scientists he knows and is interested in, like as in what work of other scientists had him fall in love with science. Victor receives books from his teachers that will teach him about modern science and other breakthroughs of that time so that he can educate himself on modern techniques. In this quote, "The ancient teachers of this science said he promised impossibilities and performed nothing. The modern masters promise very little, but these philosophers, whose hands seem only made to dabble in dirt, have indeed performed miracles. They have acquired new and almost unlimited powers." This quote is saying that the older scientists have said that they wanted to create things but have never done anything to make it happen. And that the modern masters or the modern scientists are becoming more interested in creating new things, but they don't promise a lot. They're not saying they will do it, they're just trying. Secondly, showing readers what was done for the future. In the novel, Mary Shelley writes about the intentions of modern scientists for the new generation. In this quote, it demonstrates how modern scientists built a foundation for future generations to work on. "I prepared myself for a multitude of rebirths, and at last my work be imperfect, yet when I considered this improvement which every day takes place in science and mechanics, I was encouraged to hope me present attempts would at least lay the foundations of future success." This is saying how modern scientists of her time work to create a base for future generations to continue their work and discover new things. Basically saying how they didn't just keep everything for themselves. They wanted their work to build. They wanted their work to create, and even if it wasn't them who did it, making them seem extremely humble. And finally, inspiration to create. Mary Shelley seems to have been inspired off of a modern scientist's work to write her novel. In the novel, Victor experimented with animal parts and electricity to create his monster. In her time, there was a scientist named Luigi Galvani who experimented with frogs by sending electrical pulses to their bodies and see how the animal tissue reacts. With the parts of the frog, which is an animal, and the electricity, it's very similar to how Victor created his monster, which is why people believe that Mary Shelley must have been inspired by Luigi Galvani's work in order to write her novel and create the story of Frankenstein. So to conclude everything, how Frankenstein is an homage to modern scientists is how the novel portrays them as miracle creators, how it shows readers what was done for the future, and how modern scientists was an inspiration to create. Frankenstein is loved by many people because it is the first modern horror story recorded. It is a novel that shows that scientists are amazing experimenters and can create so much. Thank you very much for listening.